Hello everybody, welcome into our latest live video. It's Sunday the 27th of April 2025. My name is KareyHolzman and today I've got something new here we've never done before. Ooh, there's been a lot of that lately. This is the JetKVM. What is it? What does it do? That's what we're going to talk about and demonstrate today. And in my line of work, why I wish I had this a long time ago, and I hemmed and hawed about pre-ordering it or backing it on Kickstarter, and I really should have done it sooner, because now that I've got one, I would like a few more of them, and they're not shipping to the United States right now because of what's going on with tariffs and all the uncertainty until this gets straightened out, which I'm sure won't take very long. And I've gone my whole life without it. I am sure I will live until these issues get worked out, and they will get worked out. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome in. Hope you're having a great Sunday. And hello to everybody joining us here in the chat. All of our members I see, as well as, let's see, Darren Gilholm saying hello. Eugene Eldago and Eddie Casanova join us. There's Scotty from Northern Ireland saying hello. Mark Baggett and Katrina H. Of course, Mara is hanging out in the chat room, our channel administrator. Be sure and say hello to her. Marsman50 says hello, as does Craig Wilson and Chris Johnson. David Graham joining us, along with Ron Barnish. And he says, received his mini PC today. He's fired it up. He's doing updates. It should be pretty updated, just between the updates that came out since we shipped it. But thank you for following up with us, Ron. Mark Gaines joining us from Northern Ireland with that £10 super chat contribution. Thank you, Mark. Gary Bickle says hello, along with Thomas MacT and Ben Laird. Ben joins us from Scotland, as does our friend Buster. I don't see him in there, but a shout out and a hello to our friend Buster there in Scotland. I also see Jamie McGregor saying hello, as well as Barry Klein and Anthony Pete, Luke Greenia, John Williams, Retro Cyber, Richard DeFries in Ireland, I believe. Gary Tatum says hello, as does Doman 2000, Matthew Burden, and David Graham renews his membership, now a member for 20 months. That's awesome. Thank you, David. All right, so I hope I didn't skip anybody, and if I did, my apologies. KVM, let's start with KVM, keyboard, video, mouse. Keyboard, mouse, video. Video is your monitor, all right? You've seen me talk about KVMs in the sense that, let's say a customer is upgrading to a brand new computer with Windows 11. Maybe they don't have all the software they need to reinstall that's on their 1,500-year-old Windows 10 computer. So what they want to do is they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to keep the Windows 10 computer as they get used to the Windows 11 computer, but their desk, it doesn't have enough room on it to put a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor for a computer on the right, and a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor for the computer on the left. And by the way, I'm using 2 as an example because 2 would be the minimum, but you could scale this up. They have the ability to switch the keyboard, video, and mouse to dozens, if not hundreds, of computers. And the way it works is you buy a regular KVM switch, keyboard, video, mouse switch. And in our case, for this example, we'd need one that can do 2 computers. So we're going to use the same keyboard and the same mouse and the same monitor on the computer on our right as we use on the computer on the left, but we can only pick one at a time. So while the computer on the right is up and running and the computer on the left is up and running, I have a little box, and that little box connects the keyboard and mouse and video, the monitor, out of the box into the back of one computer. Keyboard, mouse, monitor out of the other side of the box, or usually they're representative of what side the computer's on, goes out to the other computer. And then my actual keyboard, monitor, and mouse, those will plug into the back of the switch. So that's a lot of cables. We're looking at 9 cables there. But the beauty of it is, you set it in place, and now you can hit the button on the switch. Usually we put the switch on the desk. Usually they're pretty small. Or you can usually type a key combination that's unique to the developer of the box. And you can press Control-Shift-S or something, I don't know. And it switches from the computer on the right to the computer on the left, and you can type and move your mouse, and it controls whichever computer you're switching to. That is a type of keyboard video mouse, KVM. Now, oh, I see Buster just joins us with a 10-pound super chat. Welcome in, Buster. Buster's saying hello. And he says, I just popped in to say hello. I'll catch up tomorrow as I'm a little under the weather. You're supposed to be getting better. This is not allowed. Hey, we hope you feel better soon, Peter. And thank you for popping and saying hello. Buster, not Peter. Buster, that's what we call him. All right, so in any event, that's the idea behind a KVM, okay, is that we're going to share the keyboard, the mouse, and the monitor with a computer. Now, some of you might say, well, if you got a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard, usually they can connect to 3 devices and you just push a little button and switch devices, but not with your monitor. Not. So ideally, like let's say this keyboard and mouse were Bluetooth, I could Bluetooth them to a Mac, I could Bluetooth them to a tablet, I could Bluetooth them to my phone, and I have a full keyboard, okay? On the other hand, I could also do that with multiple desktops. If they had Bluetooth, I could Bluetooth the keyboard and the mouse to each desktop and then hit the little switch, usually a key combination, to change which device that I can pair up to 3 devices usually with Bluetooth devices, like keyboards and mice, but not with monitors. So then what do? I physically unplug a cable, go plug it in somewhere else. Now, when we talk about KVM, as you can imagine, I hope you can imagine, there's so many variations of this. We could do a KVM that runs off of a USB, where I could take a computer here, and through the USB cable, connect it to another computer that I can now see on this computer, like in a window, and control the keyboard, mouse, and see the video, just like remote access. Exactly like remote access, only without any software. Did I say without? Yes, without any software. Okay, so now I want you to picture what I do for a living. I start prepping computers, whether it's for customers or for videos. And what is the thing that kills us, right? It's those darn updates like Ron Barnish is talking about. Especially when we've had a computer sitting for a while or a brand new computer comes in that may be an older model especially, and we're missing hours worth of updates. So how do I handle that off camera? Well, when I'm on camera, I sit here and stare at it and we just talk until it's done. But that's not how I do it in real life. In real life, I set it here on the bench, right? So I've got a computer that, first of all, this is an amazing computer. This is Minisforum Atom Man, which is the high end of Minisforum. This is the, come on, what's the name? X7 Ti. This thing is powerful. This is the Ultra processor from Intel in here, the 185, and it is a monster. This thing is, anyway. We got to bring out all these Minisforum and Atom Man monster machines because we're starting to build up on them. I mean, they've got so many profoundly powerful machines in these little tiny boxes, you won't believe it. But we did review this nearly a year ago. I want to say it was about 9 months. And it's been sitting on a shelf for 9 months, and it was kind of hidden behind some stuff, and I hadn't seen it. So last night I said, I'm going to update this. So what I would do is plug in my keyboard, video, and mouse to my monitor, go to Windows Update, you know, with Ethernet plugged in, and let it update, and then I walk away. And I will go upstairs to our office. And I'll just wait a random amount of time, and I will come back downstairs. I will walk through here, walk around here, and look at the screen that I left on. And yes, occasionally I have forgotten. I've gotten involved in watching TV or YouTube, and I forgot I left this on, so I'm coming downstairs to get a bottle of water or something, and I see the glow of the monitor, and I go, oh, I forgot I was updating. So I come around and I look, oh, it's waiting on a restart. It's still not done, right? They could have restarted a half an hour ago, you know? So what I can do now, instead of that, and instead of installing software, because I've always had that option, I could put Instant House Call on here. I can put remote access software on here, but this may not be my machine. This is supposed to be a brand new computer going to a customer, and it should not have remnants of unwanted, unrelated software that the builder, or even for that matter, the previous owner had. I want this clean and pristine. Well, getting back to KVM, you can switch keyboard and video and mouse over Internet Protocol, IP. So what does that mean? That means it's possible to connect remotely over the internet, or even over your home network, of course. And that type of a connection doesn't work the same way remote access works. Remote access needs Windows to load, and then the remote access software loads. But an IP KVM allows you to take the video output of any computer and send it over the internet with control of the keyboard and mouse. That means I can get into a BIOS, I can see it boot no differently than I'm standing right here. I'm getting the, think of the KVM, the IP KVM as a little monitor, and the screen is being broadcast over your network. And you can access it from anywhere in the world, and you don't have to install any software because the software is installed on the KVM. And I should specify an IP KVM or web KVM, as some people might call them. Now, these have been around since my early days in corporate America. And the reason I never had one is they're around $2,000. And they will control multiple servers. So if you're in a big corporation, if you've ever seen those data centers they walk through and there's just single towers of computers, do you see any monitors hooked up to those? No. So how do they work on them? Well, first of all, if they had keyboards and mice and monitors hooked up to all of them, where would you put it all? You need even more room. So they handle this one of a couple ways. When you see those racks, it's like a tall, skinny rack, and it has all these blinking lights and wires. Sometimes there's a drawer that you pull out, and there's a monitor that flips up like a laptop screen with a keyboard, and you push a KVM button to select which of those servers, and they'll have labels. I want rack 7, server 4, whatever it is. Okay. And then you do your thing, and it's all on a little tray that pulls out. You still have to walk to the server to do this, right? You got to up and down the aisles, find the one you want, do your work, right? Close the lid, slide it back, slide the drawer back in, and it just blends in. You wouldn't even know it was there. Other companies have something called a crash cart, just like a hospital. Somebody's having an emergency and they need a defibrillator, or they have something called a crash cart, they wheel it in. So imagine you have a cart that has a laptop, and it has the ability to connect to anything once you plug it in. So you have to physically take the cart to the server, and you plug it in to whatever rack or whatever server it is on the rack, and then you open up your terminal or whoever you access, and boom, you can do whatever you need to do. You're all done, close it up, and move your rack. And that's your full-time job for a lot of people, because these data centers have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of servers. That's a pretty big-time job. But this technology is moving so quickly. When Raspberry Pi, these little hobby boards came out, it's a very affordable little low-power computer that you can use for automation and things like that, and for hobbyists and to play around and tinker with. It's like a modern-day Heathkit. Well, someone got it in their head. They said, this has enough power that we could do this KVM over Internet Protocol much cheaper. And Pi KVM came out. Now, Pi KVM is, around $300. Now, that's a bargain. $300 compared to the $1,200 and up price of like a corporate KVM. And then these folks at JetKVM said, sorry, not just JetKVM, but also Nano KVM, and even GeoLinet's got a new model called Comet, realized we can do this for consumers at around $70 to $80, plug and play, ready to go. You don't have to figure out where to get the software, how to make it work. All you do is plug it in, and I'm going to demonstrate just how easy this is. It's going to blow your mind. And so now, with this little device that came in yesterday, the learning curve was next to nothing. It was pretty obvious how to use it. I can choose to access this over the internet, or I can just leave it on my local network. I can choose to password protect this, as well as password protect the computer, as well as password protect the cloud account that's connecting them together. So I could have 3 entirely different paths. That's pretty damn secure. You can provide your own cloud service, or you can use their cloud service, depending on how paranoid you are. Okay. So I'm trying this last night. So I brought this out last night because I was so excited. Mara was excited too. We plugged it in, and I see the boot up screen. I hit delete. I go into the BIOS. I'm looking around, and it's almost no delay. Save the BIOS and exit. Windows boots. I can emulate a Windows installation media, like the flash drive I use. I can emulate that here as a virtual drive and tell the BIOS to boot to that virtual drive. No differently than if I had the USB stick plugged into it. It thinks it's the same. And what's more, I'll do it with 2 cables. 2 cables. All I need is the USB cable, and that's going to provide us the power and send the keyboard and mouse signal. Then I need to see what it's doing, so I have an HDMI cable. That's it. Your connection's done, except, obviously, if I'm going to plug it into the network, I need a network cable. This thing is incredible. Hold on a second. Okay, so here's the box that arrived. And it comes with USB Type-C and the mini HDMI, because this device is so small. Take a look at this. This is an LCD screen. So when I plug this into the network, it's going to get an IP address from my router. And then I type that IP address in any browser on this home network. I'm connected. That's all there is. It's so stupid. So easy. Why didn't I think of this? This thing is made of solid metal. I mean, don't drop it on your toe. And the other port here is like an RS-232 communications port or serial port. And you can control things with that. Not yet, but you will be able to control things like flipping a switch on and off in the room. That you would have to wire it up and get some kind of a switch. There is a ATX board that could go into your computer that can physically shut the computer off and turn it on with effectively plugging in. Instead of your power button, you would replace that power button, and then that way you can physically shut the computer off or turn it on with this additional item, which I don't, look, that doesn't help me with mini PCs. But yes, I could physically turn a computer off or turn it on as though I'm right in front of it, no differently. And most of these, in fact, if not all of these KVMs, whether it's Nano KVM, whether it's GLI-Net's Comet or the JetKVM, and I'm showing the JetKVM because from everything I've researched, this is the best one. They're all good though. This is the best one so far. There's still room for improvement. It's still a first generation product. And it arrived first. Okay, so it's just okay, this is the one we've got first. So it all just happened to work out. And I said, well, I don't know how difficult this is going to be to configure. Let me check this off camera before I make a video on it. Okay, so the serial port here, which looks like a phone plug, we're not using that today. And I would probably never use it. But they even have Nano KVMs that are a PCIe card, PCIe, and you plug it right into your motherboard. And then you have to give it its own internet connection. And it's got a little LCD screen on the back of it, like a little teeny tiny one. But that's to power a specific machine. What I love about this is I could send this to my brother and say, here, plug this into your computer so I can adjust your BIOS so you can get into Windows 11, versus having him do it, and he's not a computer person. And how are we going to do that? Every BIOS is different. I don't know where to tell him to go. I don't have the same motherboard here. So he'd have to like do a video call and point the phone at the computer so I could read it. What a pain in the butt. He could plug this in though. Now, there is no video pass-through on this. Just like those servers don't have monitors when you walk into like a big data center, you don't see many monitors, if any. We call that headless, just like the headless horseman. And if you've ever seen like little HDMI ports that emulate being plugged into a monitor, that's for headless computers that won't turn on right or show the right resolution if they don't detect a monitor. So they fake a monitor for a different scenario, but you might have wondered what that was for. So this is the concept, and it's incredibly simple. And the setup, anybody could do this. The plug only fits in one place. Here's our HDMI cable. I'm going to plug it in right there. That's a mini HDMI. Remember, this is now your monitor. It replaces your monitor. And then we're going to plug this in over here. Next, I've got a choice of either USB-C to C or C to A. This takes C, obviously, because it's so obvious. C, obviously, because of how little the device is. It needs the smaller HDMI and the smaller USB. And we're going to plug it into any USB port. We're hooked up, except I still have to give this the same power I would ordinarily give it. So we'll plug our power adapter in here. I've left the keyboard and mouse over here attached, even though I don't really need it. All right, that, as far as I'm concerned, we can take this keyboard and mouse and just get rid of it. We absolutely don't need it. I also need to plug the network in and give this power. So let's grab a network cable. This could be Wi-Fi too, except if you want to use Wake on LAN, which is another way you can turn it on, which I've not covered here, but it's called the Magic Packet. And if your computer supports Wake on LAN, as long as it's plugged in, even if it's off, you can send a signal. That's why you might notice when you turn your computer off, you still may see the lights on the back of your network card. That's why. It'll say, oh, okay, it wants me to wake up. It'll fire the computer up out of an off state, not a hibernation or sleep, off. But this will do one better by physically hitting a switch if we buy the additional add-on item, okay? So I'm trying to make this as simple as I can in the description. Finally, this has to connect to the internet. This is not Wi-Fi. So I grab one more internet cable, Ethernet cable off my router, and just plug it in. Now, the minute I plug it in, the minute I give it power, you'll see the screen light up and it'll get an IP address from the router. So some computers have power through the USB port even when they're off. And that's often promoted for like charging your phone when your computer's off. Well, you would want that if you were shutting your computer off to be able to turn this, this would have to be powered on at all times in order to turn the computer on and off. Following me? Am I getting too confusing? So the USB-C has two USB-Cs on it. One, you could run to like a cell phone charger, and that'll keep this on, even if your computer shuts power off to the USB. The other USB will control the keyboard and mouse. But I have no interest in turning the computer on and off. I don't really care. I'm just telling you, because some of you might be fascinated by that. But in order for you to control when the computer's off, this still has to be powered on. And some motherboards allow for power, and sometimes it's even an option in the BIOS, for the power to remain on through your USB when your system is off, in which case it's not an issue. So with that, let me give this power, and we're going to turn this on. But first, I'm going to show you what it looks like once I get some juice to this. So I think once I power this, I think this USB port is powered. Let's just see if we get a screen here. So no, at this point, that is not powered on. Sometimes it may be certain ports, like these up front, maybe these have power. Oh, that's the USB. That's the HDMI cable. Once again, I have no interest in turning this on and off. I'm just showing this for a demonstration. So if I take the USB cable here, let's see if this USB port has power on it when the unit is off. Does not appear to. So I'm going to turn the unit on, and you'll see we have a big screen on the X7 Ti. And you will also see the screen right here. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get you a close-up of that. But that screen gives us the information regarding. It's also a touch screen, by the way. You can tap it. It doesn't really do anything but provide other info. There's no options or settings. But the most important thing is the IP address that we've been assigned. So right across the top, maybe I can go to camera 2 and you can see this better. This has booted. No, sorry, it's not camera 2. It's close-up camera. Maybe you can read that now. And that's telling us what our IP address is. That's been assigned just now on our local network. It also gives us a little bit other information on the screen, but that's the primary thing we want to know. And that may change every time we unplug it and plug it back in, like from USB, and it loses power and then we plug it in again. That may and likely will get a new IP address every time. It's not always the same. Not that you couldn't configure that, but I'm just saying. We're just going to stick with all the defaults. I want to keep this as simple as I can. So let's jump back over here to camera 1. Now, I want to go to the streaming computer, and I want to show you how this works. We're going to go over to a brand new tab here on our Google Chrome browser, but any browser, even the browser on your phone. And we're going to go to window capture. Okay, here we are. And right up here, I'm going to type the IP address in, which I have to put my glasses on to read because it's a little screen. But the screen says our IP address is 19. I guess I got to click on it up here. 192.168.68.70. Watch how fast this is. You ready? Boom, we're on the desktop of the little computer. And if I want to, I can go full screen. And now, do you see the second mouse? This is trippy. So there's a couple of milliseconds of delay. When I move my mouse, the one that's leading, the one that follows and mimics what I'm doing is the one on the computer I'm controlling remotely right now. And I'm going to restart this computer. And because we're connected to it over the network, remember, if I was restarting the streaming computer, we would lose our video. So what you're watching is the remote computer full screen in the browser window. And there it is with the logo, the post screen. I'm going to hit delete, 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 delete on my, well, I think I missed it. I'm so excited. I'm not timing it right. All right, there's our Adam, man. I want to do this again. Start, restart. No differently than if I were sitting in front of it and no software, no instant house call, no remote software is needed. So I'm keeping the machine clean for a customer, and I can be upstairs checking it on my laptop without having to walk down the stairs. And there's no monthly billing for this. You bought it, it's yours. It's all said and done. It's all paid for, so knock yourself out. All right, so I'm going to try hitting delete again. Look at this. Now I'm in the machine's BIOS, because remember, this KVM is a monitor. That's where it throws most people off. We're not dealing with software in the sense of remote access. So if I want to make sure Secure Boot is turned on, I can go under Security here and check out Secure Boot and make sure we've got that turned on, for example. We're all done. We can just save and exit and click OK, and it reboots no differently than me being plugged into the HDMI capture card in the streaming computer. But we're not. We're in the browser. Look. How cool is this? I can see my connection status. I can see that I'm connected via USB. You know, the device is telling me it's connected to the internet through USB. I can create a virtual keyboard. So if I'm on a smartphone and I'm pulling up the browser, how do I type? Well, you bring up a virtual keyboard and you use your cell phone that way. Wake on LAN, virtual media. That's where I can take an ISO image, let's say of the Windows 11 installer, and load it up, mount it here locally on my streaming machine, and then it assigns it over here as a CD drive. See there? CD drive. You know this little mini PC does not have a CD drive. If I want to copy and paste text, I'm not going to just copy and paste. I have to open this box and paste it in here first and then confirm it, and then you'll see it type out across the other machine. So if I went to Notepad, for example, and I'm using the same keyboard and mouse that I'm using on the streamer. It's so weird. So if I said, this is a test of typing a copy and paste. So of course I could just type it, right? So if I copy this, which I don't even know if you guys can see that, now that I'm thinking about it. From my local Notepad, I go to paste this text. Let's open Notepad down here. Let's go down here and open Notepad. Okay. And then I'm going to paste, Control V, that text I just, I guess I got to do it again. Here, Control C, and then go over here. Nope, come over here. I'm still getting used to it. Why is this not copying for me? Right click, copy. I didn't do it. Did I load this on the wrong machine? I think I might have. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. Let me load Notepad on the streamer. And I'm going to just copy a link we've got here. Maybe not. Yeah, I've done this wrong. Let's close these because I'm confusing myself. When it gets like this, where you're running Windows 11 within Windows 11, which Notepad did I just open? So let me open my local Notepad on the streamer, and I'll say this is a test of copy and paste number 2. I hit Control A and Control C to copy that on the streamer. Then I go back to my browser, I hit paste, well, not yet, I'm getting ahead. Paste it to where, right? So let's open Notepad first. We want to get rid of this previous thing. So just starting over, all blank. Pressing Control V is not going to work. You see, it doesn't say number 2. That was our previous. That's in our buffer, in our cache. So I go to paste text. This is the text I want, and then confirm it and watch. You see the difference? How it typed it out versus just slamming it in there. That's because it's transmitting it. But what if I want to access this computer over the internet from anywhere in the world? Well, then we're going to set up, if we go back over to, we go to where the heck is it? Settings. We go to settings, and right here under access, we can just have local access. Right now I have the password disabled because it's on my network, right? I've got it already registered to a cloud account from JetKVM. So if we close this out, we'll just go up here and instead connect to it this way, app.jetkvm.com. It associates it to my login, right? I have to log in to my JetKVM account, which is free. And it says, this is the one JetKVM I have assigned to me. I could have hundreds of these, and I can give them each a name. I called it JetKVM. I could have called it downstairs bench. Then I hit connect. Now we're going over the internet, and we're connected. And again, hit the full screen button, and the delay is very minor. Now, we're not going to get audio through this. This is just keyboard, video, and mouse. All right, and that's the whole concept in a nutshell. Let me jump back over to camera 1 and see what you guys, how you're reacting to this, because I am blown away. Go back to Here we go. Back over to our chat room. Mecha Cameron says, what's the wind chime sound? That wind chime sound is a wind chime. It's a beautiful day before the summer hits us in Phoenix, and it's going to be 110 degrees Fahrenheit before you know it. This is one of the last few days of the year, well, of the spring, where we can open the windows and enjoy the cooler weather. And so when that happens, you'll hear maybe the birds singing and the chimes if the wind is blowing. Yeah, it's a nice day out today. All right, let's see what I've been missing in the chat here. This thing is insane. Man, they had an option to back the Kickstarter with 3 units or 5 units. I definitely could have used more of these, because I could drop it in the mail and have a customer plug it in. Then I can access the BIOS, do what I need to do to get their Windows 10 BIOS set up for Windows 11, and get Windows 11 installed and the updates. And then when I'm done, just tell the customer, do me a favor, unplug it, put the other plugs back in, go to the next machine. That saves me a drive, and potentially anywhere in the world, whether it's my neighbor or in another state or another country. For the cost of $70, that covers the cost of my gas to go 1/4 of the way if I had to drive over there in some cases. There's a particular case I'm thinking of, that's why I was so specific in that. But in any event, let's scroll around here and see what I've been missing. Charlie Purdy joins us and says hello. Barry Klein says, what I like about them is that machines can be located in diverse places. My rack mount KVM requires dongles and physical close proximity. Yes, although they do have IP-based rack mount. What are they? IPMI? I forget what they're called, but they're very expensive. And Mark Leibowitz, when I was talking about the little HDMI adapters that you might see for sale on Amazon, you're like, what's that for? It says it emulates an HDMI plug. Like, why would you want to do that? Mark Leibowitz says another example would be systems like Splashtop, where they won't provide a display from a headless computer. And a headless computer is a computer that has no monitor attached. Let's see. Matthew Burden says he's got two of these. Are we talking about the same thing? He says, I've got 2 of them and never had any problems ever. Barry Klein said, let's do a Rube Goldberg. Put a mini PC next to your desktop so you can use it as a browser to access your desktop and still allow remote access. Put a mini PC next to your desktop so you can use it as... Yeah, I don't understand. How would that be any different than how I just showed it? Because the streaming computer is a desktop. I just opened a tab. I thought that would be less complicated, and unless I'm not getting that. Well, we've already confused some people. This is a computer. This big box right here is a computer. This is a mini PC that has a screen on it. It has nothing to do with this. This controls a computer, and this is a computer we're controlling to demonstrate how this works. This could be any computer, desktop, laptop, mini PC. This is a mini PC. This is an IP KVM. They are not in any way, shape, or form related. As a computer, this demonstrates how an IP KVM controls a computer. Well, I still have another computer over here capturing everything to show it to you. So we have we have two computers, the streaming computer down on the floor you can't see, our demo computer right here, our mini PC from Minis Forum. The JetKVM is not made by Minis Forum, it's made by JetKVM. And that's this little box here that we could connect literally to any computer. And this is the computer I decided to use today because this is what I was testing it with last night. And I didn't want to have to grab another one when they're all going to work exactly the same. And this is just for demonstration purposes. It just looks a little weird for a mini PC, doesn't it? But yeah, any of the mini PCs, any PC we've ever shown on this channel, this little box, we can communicate with it over IP, over the network, which is so darn cool, with no software required. I did not need to install any software on the streamer to open that browser page. I did not need to install any software on the mini PC. It's all handled here, so it's important you check for updates from time to time and make sure you get your latest updates. This is open source. It's a flavor of Linux on there that they're using, which, you know, look, all I'm seeing is this interface on the screen, so I wouldn't know what OS it is, nor do I care. But the fact that it's an open source project and that people on GitHub or other places can code it or improve it, and it's open so you can see what's going on. I think pretty much all these are open, whether it's, of course, IP KVM kind of started this whole idea. But if you look at the prices, IP KVM is like $300, and some of these devices require a power adapter. These new ones, they run off USB power. So that's one less cable we have to run. And they're cheaper. I could buy 4 or 5 of these for the price of one IP KVM. And I think this is faster, but I don't have a lot of experience with them. And when I say faster, I'm referring to the lag between when I move the mouse and when the mouse moves over here. All right, so appreciate your questions. Keep your questions coming. We'll do our best to provide answers. I know that question was asked a little while ago. I'm just getting caught up here in the chat room, so bear with me. David Graham says, can we leave this plugged in and still use the computer as normal? Well, how would we see what's going on if this is the monitor? If we leave this plugged into our monitor, how do we see this monitor? So it is not designed. Listen, if you're sitting in front of the computer and you can see it, then why do you have this plugged in? It doesn't make any sense. If you have this turned on and plugged in and you just want to access it remotely, just put some remote access software like Instant House Call on it. You understand what I'm saying? There's all different kinds of solutions, and the idea isn't that we're taking the wrong solution and twisting it around and bending it to our will, that we're buying the right tool for the purpose that we need. So while I'm upstairs and I'm updating and waiting for updates to finish, I can keep an eye on it. I can restart it if I need to. I don't have to keep coming downstairs and checking it. If I send one of these off to my brother, I can connect to his computer. All he has to do is plug it in, have him read that number to me, or rather I could assign this right through, I could do this a couple ways. I could assign this right through the app that I showed you to access it online over the network, connect, have full control, keyboard and mouse. He won't be able to see what I'm doing because he has to disconnect his monitor to hook this, because this is the monitor. This is the monitor. So how are you going to control this if you can't see what's going on except remotely where the monitor is now in your browser? So we could disconnect the display and plug our monitor in while leaving this plugged in, but what would be the point of that? Now this won't have any display at all. So now you can't see if you connect remotely to it. There's not a video loop. This is not what this is for. It is not for hooking up and then using the machine while you're here. That's not the point of it. It's to use the machine when you're away. So again, when it comes to regular remote support, I use remote access software. It loads in Windows on the customer's machine. This is nobody's machine, and I don't want to throw Windows remote software on here in any way, shape, or form. Do I want to put anything of mine on this machine that may be going to a customer? If I do, the only way to clean it, from my perspective, is to wipe it clean and start over, which puts me back to doing updates again, right? So then I could hook this up, and I could be watching TV and just have the laptop at my side, just watching it. And when I see it's ready to restart, an hour later, I just hit restart. I don't have to keep coming downstairs and walking around and checking it. And that's just in one building. Now imagine, if you will, you have an office filled with computers, and you buy one of these for every computer. That would be, say, in a server room. Not the employee workstations, because those have monitors. So how are the employees going to use their computers if you've got them all set up like that? Now, if your employees are working remotely and you don't want to pay for remote access software, which can be expensive, you could disconnect their monitor, plug it into one of these, and have your employees work from home. If you want the monitor and this, then you want something like, well, just regular remote access software, which is not going to get you into a BIOS for obvious reasons, because you're going to be using Windows-based remote access software that I've been loving and using it for years. The only way this really helps me is by me being able to see the boot screen and getting into the BIOS. That's not something I have to do very often. It's usually something that's done during a normal setup. And the other way this helps me is, again, during a normal setup where I have a ton of updates that can take hours, that I don't have to keep coming downstairs and checking on it. And again, I'm not going to put remote software on some future client's computer. I don't know who this is going to. I don't know if this is just going to sit on a shelf. I don't want the remote software to be 4 versions behind in a security exploit because I forgot about it. So this allows me to keep the software off of clean machines and make it more optimal for me to just be aware when they're ready to reboot, rather than forget I've got an update running and then or even leave the monitor on. I can physically shut this monitor off. I don't need it anymore because I'm no longer plugged into the monitor here. So now I'm saving electricity on the big screen, because that's going to eat up a lot of power. And the laptop upstairs is on anyway, so it's no big deal for me to open a tab. I can go full screen on it, and it's no different than if I'm standing right here. It's no different. No different. So that's why I'm so excited about it. It solves man, I wish when I first heard about this back in January, do I really need it? I don't really need it. And then the more I saw, because it's Kickstarter, maybe you're never going to get a product. I started seeing content creators here on YouTube saying, hey, I got mine, and they showed it and they demonstrated it, and I said, hey, that's pretty cool. And some content creators are better at explaining it than others. So as I watched more, as more got shipped, because they ship them in batches every month, I said, well, they're fulfilling their orders, so that's a real thing. It's not a scam. It's not vaporware. I guess I'll order it. So I ordered one just to see, because I was still skeptical. Never had one of these in my life. And I started seeing more reviews pouring in, and I started thinking about it, and was talking to Mara, and Mara said, oh, you're going to need one of those for me and one of those for you. You only ordered one? I'm like, well, that's the thing. Let's just get one, and if we like it, we just go back on Kickstarter and order another one. Who cares? Well, it turns out when you back something on Kickstarter, you can only back it once. You can never back it again. And it turns out, for the first time in my life, there's a little governmental war between the US and China regarding tariffs. There's a lot of uncertainty, so they're not even shipping this to the US right now until that gets figured out. It just fell right in the wrong time. On the other hand, the Kickstarter, I mean, technically it's over. They've got their funding, and now they want to start selling these on Amazon. So this might be available on Amazon in the next month or two. I don't know which will happen first with regards to tariffs being resolved so they could ship. This is available everywhere except the United States. That is so weird. Now I know what it feels like to where some of you live, where you're like, oh, we can't get that. Well, now I'm getting a taste of it. I don't like it either, but it's not going to kill me. I've gone my whole life without one of these. I don't need one. I just want it. not being able to get it. So if I would have ordered, say, if I would have ordered one of these in January, got it in February, and decided I want 2 or 3 more, I could have had Mara order it, because I can't order again. It's one backing, one time, that's it. But then we would have gotten the additional units, and then I'd have spares that I could leave at customers' offices where I don't have to stay there all night waiting for something to finish. That potentially I might need to get into a BIOS. But remember, this is a monitor. So if that's a customer that's going to need that computer Monday morning, I go over there Friday night and bring this with me and plug it in. I got Saturday and Sunday to work on it from home at my convenience, and then drive back over there, pick it up Sunday night, and plug their monitor back in. Or I can call them or leave them a note and say, please unplug the, all they have to do is take the monitor plug off the back and plug their monitor cable right back in. They're back up and running. But of course, I would want this back because I could see where I could use this over and over again. They do have alternate, there are competitors to this market. So let me jump over here to Amazon and I'm going to show you. One of the competitors is called Nano KVM. Now Nano KVM, which we've got one of these on order, and I guess I must have clicked something by mistake. Okay, company called SciSpeed, I guess. Nano KVM. Now I want you to keep in mind what kind of a KVM it is. Is it a USB KVM? If so, it's not meant to go over a network. It's for controlling a computer through another computer with a USB cable. Is it a regular KVM like I described, where you plug your keyboard, video, and mouse into each computer, and then your main keyboard, video, and mouse into the unit? That's a lot of cables. That's 9 cables. Plus it probably needs power. That's 10 total cables. It's a mess. So this unit will broadcast no differently than what we're seeing here. The interface is different, all open source. This is a 3D printed case, and inside of it they have this little tiny unit. That's the KVM. It's got an Ethernet jack on one side of it and HDMI and a USB-C on the other side. Look how teeny tiny that is. Now that's called a Nano KVM Lite. That's just a raw circuit board you can buy for like 36 bucks. This is if you're somebody who likes projects, okay? Because you're gonna have to figure out what kind of case you want to put it in. There are open source downloads that you can download if you're a 3D printer enthusiast. You can make your own case. And it doesn't come with any bootable memory card with the bootable operating system on it. You have to go to GitHub and get that and get your own little SD card and do it all yourself. The unit that I'm looking at, that's $69.99, it's all done for you. It's plug and play, ready to go. You still want to update it, and it may not be obvious on how to update it. It's got 2 USB ports, one to provide power just in case you want to be able to have the computer off and turn it on. And if the computer goes off, then the KVM loses power and you're not going to access it remotely anymore. For me, that's not important, but if you're wondering what that other USB-C is for, it's for power. And you could plug in a cell phone charger into there just to make sure that stays powered on at all times. Down here, these cables, you can plug, let's say, a USB cable into that little circuit board, and then that little circuit board you can plug into the motherboard header of your tower computer and control power with it that way. That's what the extra little circuit board and cables are for. So there's a second, yet another USB cable, USB on the other side of it if you want to remote power on and power off the computer. So that's included. I won't use that. And if we look at the pictures, like I said, the light package is really for the DIYer that wants to do most of it yourself. This is ready to roll. Just take it out of the package, get it updated, and it's pretty easy to use. None of these are perfect. There's still a first generation of a product. Essentially, that little board right there is inside of this. And you can take it apart. It's got the little screen with the IP address on it. It's just a little tiny, it's nowhere near as nice as the one on the JetKVM, but it gets the job done. And on top of that, GLINet, the people that make those little travel routers, they've got something called the Comet. Now the Comet is their version of this, which is this little box, and it's all the same, and they're all about the same price. I don't know why this one's, Oh, this one's extra because it's got the added board. The board I don't want and I'm not going to use to control the power on the PC. I have no interest in that. So I want a version of this without that. It'll be cheaper. So this is a bundle. So that's the ATX board, and that's what the ATX board is for. Somewhere here, 79 bucks. They're all going to be right around $69, $79. That's what you should be paying, and that's just the unit. They're very similar to what we're seeing here. Now, I don't see a screen, so I don't know how you can tell what your IP address is, but there are already some content creators here on YouTube that received early samples. I pre-ordered mine, and it's supposed to be here before the end of the month, but I've not gotten any updates on it. And the overall opinion seems to be that it's a little rough around the edges still, and they've got some work to do. But GLINet, they're a reputable company, and I'm sure that they're not going to abandon it. They're going to continue to improve it, and I don't mind. If I can just use it for basic functionality, I'm a happy guy. So the GLINet Comet, then the JetKVM. This is the JetKVM.com website. And as you can see down here, you can go to the Kickstarter page and you can see how much funding, over $5 million, over 37,000 backers. And if you're in another country outside of the US, you can order this now. However, if you are in the US, they have a $1 standby position to put you in a queue, that once the shipping gets resolved with regards to these tariffs, which could be tomorrow, it could be 2 months from now. But I think it'll be sooner rather than later. Once that becomes clear and the rules are set, then they'll let you know you can order now. I can't order because I've already ordered one. I mean, look how many they have left out of 5,000. There's still 4,200 left. And you can buy like 2 of them at a time, or you can buy 3 of them at a time. Look at that price, $207. So if I go back to Amazon, just to give you some perspective, and we'll look for a Pi KVM. I want to show you what the price is on these things and how much bigger they are. So here is an add-in board that you can put in your tower computer if it's just one specific machine. That's called the Geekworm. This is another Raspberry Pi based KVM over IP. I wouldn't want that. That doesn't do me any good because that would only be for a desktop. What I'm using now, I can use that on a desktop or a mini PC or a laptop. So that's too limiting for me personally. Also, look how expensive it is. So if we keep going, we can see different kinds of KVMs. Now here is about the cheapest that you could have bought prior to the JetKVM, the Nano KVM, and GLINet's Comet. This would be your cheapest option here at $299.95. Look how much bigger it is. And this is the little one, because the Plus model is even bigger. And notice it has a 12-volt input, so it has to have another cable potentially for power. So that, no good for me. It's too big, it's too expensive. And these were considered bargains, by the way. Amazing that you could do this, because prior to do an IP KVM, just to give you an idea, we could probably see on Amazon, if we get rid of the Pi, instead of PI, we'll call it IP KVM, we will likely see some very expensive models like this one. This one is meant to go into a tiny little server rack. And if we keep going down, if we look for IP KVMs, you'll notice the prices can get eye-watering. In fact, because Amazon's not really a place to buy some of this business stuff, let's type in IP KVM in Google search and hit the shopping tab, just to give you an idea what we're talking about. And we'll look for sort of like a rack-mounted one. So this one can connect to 8 different computers at the same time. And it's on Amazon for $700. That's a good deal. Then, you know, you scroll through and this is one of those trays that I was explaining that slides out from a rack that it looks like a little laptop, right? So the monitor and the keyboard, and then the KVM switch. So you can switch to which server you want to control right there. And then when you're done, close the lid and slide it back slide the drawer closed, and it just hides in the rack. Even stuff like this. Look at this guy. This would be part of maybe what we call a crash cart. This is a KVM over IP solution, which is for VGA. And look how much money. It's just nearly $600. That's considered a bargain. When you look at professional IP KVMs that are designed to go in server racks, you're looking at thousands of dollars. I mean, even just this console with the 19-inch LCD, that's $2,400. That's normal. That's just business. And if we look through some of these, here's a 16-port IP switch that's just nearly $1,500. And that is a great price, by the way. But I don't need to control 15. I only want to control one at a time. But in a server room, you could have multiple, 8 or 9 or 10 servers, maybe more, all in one rack. And this gives you the ability to hook all their videos up and control remotely over IP those servers without going into the very loud and claustrophobic server room. So that stuff's not cheap. This is incredible that they've been able to miniaturize and reduce the cost and the simplicity into this. Wow. All right, so let me know your questions, your concerns. Let me get back over to the chat room and see, let me get caught up, see what you guys are saying. Luke Greenia says, as simple as this seems, I'd still mess it up. I don't think you could, Luke. I don't think you can mess it up. Each cable only plugs in one place, so you can't really get it wrong. There's only 3 cables. HDMI for your video, USB-C for the keyboard and mouse to transmit and well as power this unit, and then a cable off of your router. You're done. That's it. That's all there is. I would challenge you to screw it up. Oh, Barry Klein was, sorry, I just saw that, talking about getting around the video pass-through. Yeah, well, again, it's a non-issue, really, regardless, because if you can see the monitor, you don't need this. All right, just Barry went over my head. Whoosh. Let's see. Grant says this still needs another person at the other end to power on the computer. In the case of a mini PC, we could just simply turn on Wake on LAN, and we wouldn't need another person to turn it on. In the case of a server or a desktop, we can override the power switch, disconnect the power switch, and plug in the accessory, the ATX board for this, and we can physically control the power switch. So they've already thought of it. It's an additional accessory to do the power switch. Adds a little bit of cost, but it also keeps it permanently affixed to that machine until you physically unwire it. I like the portability of this. I like how small it is. I have a small workbench. I could not have designed this for my needs. I don't know about your needs, but for my needs, where's this been all my life? That's all I got to say about that. Mark Leibowitz said the Kickstarter JetKVM looks pretty well funded. I'm keeping my eye on this one. I can foresee situations where I'll include it with the client's equipment. Looks simpler than typical remote access. Well, except for the customer not having a display. Gary wants to know, Gary Tatum, do you have to have Wake on LAN enabled in the BIOS? Or how does it turn the computer on from an off state? You would need Wake on LAN to do that. Now, for me and my purposes, I would just come downstairs and hit the power button. I don't mind. I'm not going up and down 17 times. In fact, when I'm setting up one of these computers to work on, well, I'm plugging everything in, I turn it on. Then I go upstairs and I can shut all the lights off and turn the monitor off, and I do all my work upstairs off the laptop while I'm watching YouTube videos or using the laptop for, answering emails or any of the other work that I do, and just checking on that open browser tab to see what's going on over here. And I don't need to come back downstairs ever until basically I can shut it down from upstairs Then when I come back downstairs, when I'm done, I just unplug it, put it back in the box, back on the shelf, put the next one up, go back upstairs. I love this so much. Thank you for the question, Gary. So when it comes to the monitor situation, if your computer has multiple video outs and you want to put it in multi-monitor mode with duplication, I suppose that could get you around the caveat of this being a monitor. This would be monitor 1. And if you mirror monitor 1 to monitor 2, or vice versa, I suppose, then you'll get the exact same display on both. So you could kludge it that way, but it's, again, for me personally, stick with the remote software if that's all you need. For this, because even with remote software, like Instant House Call and there's some others, you can still choose Wake on LAN to wake them up. I know Remote PC does that. There's a bunch of other remote software that can send that magic packet, because that's basically a BIOS thing. So your BIOS supports it or it doesn't, and you have to turn on magic packet, and then wake on LAN. There's no magic there. I tell all my customers to leave their computers on, so I don't have this problem. But yes, that's there, because if you do have this problem, I don't, but if you do, there you go, wake on LAN. And Mara mentions, yes, all the links for everything that we're talking about, they're all in our video notes. Always be sure and check out our video notes, please. Mara spends a lot of time putting notes together. Katrina says, can we still get these? I want one. Well, if you're in the United States, not right now. However, I don't imagine that's going to happen very long. And JetKVM is working with Amazon. And however long that takes, it will be available on Amazon. You've lived without it your whole life, so let's not make a big deal out of it. When they're available, they'll be available. I didn't know that was going to happen when I ordered it. If I'd have known that, I could have ordered like 50 of them and started selling them on eBay. You try and find anybody who owns one of these selling it. I can't find one anywhere. Nowhere. So the people who bought them and backed this project, they're not selling them. If I was a scalper, I'm just saying, this was worth more than $69. I would pay $150 for this. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud. It's well worth $150 to me. It is so well made, solid metal frame, beautiful screen, and the software just works. I'm not going to say it's perfect. I haven't familiarized myself enough with it, and I don't use it in a way a lot more technical people might want it to work. I'm not that technical. What I need it for is pretty simple, and it blows me away. It more than meets my needs, but I will still always maintain it and keep it up to date, just because you never know when they might add more features or better security. And if I don't want to use JetKVM to host it, I can provide my own cloud host if I'm worried about being spied on, stuff like that. So just so you know, I could also put this on a VLAN, and I also don't have to worry about, exposing the network or in any way. I could put this on a guest network. I don't have to have it on my main network when I'm accessing it, say, from a different location. So all the security is there, and you can customize it to your needs. It's all open source. Both the GLINet, the Comet that I showed you, as well as the Nano KVM and this JetKVM, they're all kind of the same, but each is taking their own little take on it. The Nano KVM is more like, hey guys, let's get together and make something. Whereas GLINet and JetKVM are professional companies, and they're looking for a lot more polish and customer satisfaction versus do it yourself and be your own support and go crazy with any mods you want to do that aren't officially supported, that you just might like having as a project for fun or to solve a particular and unique situation that you have. The Nano KVM is really the fun little project box if you're comfortable with coding and modifying the open source code and making your own remote switches and things to control anything you want to control that has a switch. You can develop all of that. All the hard work's done for you in the box. The JetKVM and the GLInet are more consumer-based product, ready to roll with all the fit and finish you'd expect from a company. But ironically, or coincidentally, they're all about the same price. They fall within the $70 to $80 range, with the Nano KVM coming in around $63. I think you can find it. Not that much cheaper for a little cheap 3D printed piece of plastic, you know. This is way better material. This thing is solid. All right, let me go back over to the chat, see what else you guys have to say here. Let me refresh. Where was I? Katrina says, maybe show the streaming computer to get the clarity of comprehension point across. I can't. The streaming computer is off camera. But the streaming computer, it doesn't really matter. There's only one computer that you see on the bench. And to control it remotely, I must have another computer somewhere, right? And what am I going to show you? A box with lights on it and say, oh, that's the remote computer. I'm sure you can picture that in your head. There's a box that my cameras are connected to and my microphone is connected to. And normally, I would connect the PC with an HDMI cable to the box, and then we'd switch from this desktop, and then I could go back and forth like I always do. I can show you the BIOS, all the other, but I have to have my own keyboard and mouse. You see, I bring a second keyboard and mouse. You don't see that second keyboard and mouse, do you? So how the heck am I using this keyboard and mouse to control the other desktop I'm showing, because it's not in the capture card like it normally is? Instead, I'm capturing the window of the streaming computer with the browser open. That's it. That's the computer I'm controlling from. So what you're seeing is the computer I'm controlling. And when I capture the browser of me typing in the IP address, you don't need to see what that computer looks like on the outside. It's not this computer, because that wouldn't make any sense that I would remote in from this computer to this computer. That's not even a thing. I wouldn't even need any hardware or software for that. So just imagine any computer anywhere in the world, and I can go to app.jetkvm.com and control this computer. No software involved. It's that easy. And that demonstration was to show you what that interface looks like from the side that's doing the controlling. I can't show you this side any other way because this is the monitor. I don't have any way to show this to you on the capture card. It's not possible. The capture card acts as a display. Well, this is already acting as the display. So now how can I show you the think about it logically. How could I show you this desktop without being plugged into the capture card? I now have to remote into it. Well, I can't remote into it from itself. So why take out a third computer when I've already got the streaming computer, open the browser, open the tab, and connect to it, and now we see the desktop. You don't need to see the other. It's irrelevant. So it's incredibly simple. All I'm doing is I'm taking full control of this computer from any computer anywhere in the world without any software. Think of it like a long keyboard cable, a long mouse cable, and a long video cable that's wireless that I can control using the keyboard, mouse, and video of any computer that I already have. So this keyboard and mouse that I'm using to control the streamer, when I open the browser and I log in over here, this keyboard and mouse controls this. And then when I move the keyboard and mouse away from that window, now I'm controlling everything on the local computer. I mean, it's common sense. Maybe you need to try one to really absorb it. Maybe you don't even need one. Maybe the reason you're having a problem, if you are having a problem understanding the concept, is this doesn't solve any issues for you, and therefore there's no point of reference where you could put this in place where it'd be beneficial for you. There's nothing worse than seeing a review on Amazon that says, I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to show you. Let me go back to Amazon here for a moment. And let's share the screen again. I don't know what's going on in the world today. I seriously, somebody has got to explain to me in a way that people have just not become completely stupid. Not you guys, I'm not talking about you. I want to show you a review here, and I want you to think about what this review says and wonder what the heck was this person thinking when they decided to let the world know they have no idea what they bought, what it does, or how to use it, and therefore it gets 1 star. There's a 1-star review right here. What does it say? Oh, I gotta log in to see it? Come on. Here, this is it. This is Tony D, who says, what is it? No instructions, no idea how to use. Why are you buying something you don't know what it is? Why did you buy it? And why do you give it 3 stars? I don't know what this is. I don't know what it does. And I've seen a few of these. This guy says it's a Chinese spyware device. You've got to be out of your freaking mind. You've got to be such a paranoid, delusional person to think that that's spying on you, because you can control this, right? Yes, if you look at some reviews on YouTube, they'll say something about the firmware. There's like a picture of a cat in it and some other things. And I think it's just people playing. But nonetheless, you know, look, do us both a favor. If you're paranoid and delusional, don't buy it. But, you know, to leave 1 star because of that concern, it's scary to me that people are this simple. This is clearly not a developer. This is clearly not somebody with a technical mind. And yet, this is what they've concluded. You notice they don't provide any evidence or proof. They just make a statement that they invented out of their head with absolutely no citation or verification or example of what they're referring to. Just take my word for it. This is why you have to watch these Amazon reviews. By the way, who is Jorge? Who is this? Is this somebody we respect in the industry? Is this somebody well known? Is this an influencer that we all enjoy? Who is Jorge? Who are you? Why do we care what some stranger with a potentially fake name who may not even be a real person says about it without any evidence behind what they're saying? So at least here, you know, you see verified purchase. This person just says Amazon customer. Now, do you want to believe somebody who won't even tell you who they are, regardless if it's positive or negative? Who are they? What is the source? But by the way, I'm going to give this 3 stars because I don't know what it is. It didn't come with instructions, and I have no idea. and I'm going to write a review and let everybody know. Oh my gosh, I just don't get it. Why? Would you just have money burning a hole in your pocket? I don't understand. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to buy it. And then because I don't know what it is, I bought this $15,000 Yamaha piano because I heard online it was a fantastic piano, but when I play it, it sounds terrible. So be warned. Also, people might overhear you. You know, your neighbors, because the piano, when you play it, it's kind of loud. So you don't have any privacy. So be aware, it's kind of spyware. Okay, take your pills and go to bed. I don't know what to say. I don't know what's going on. What's happening? I get it if it was somebody trying to be funny. I don't think any of that was anything other than sincere. That's what scares me. I'll take the Chinese government spying on me any day over whatever that was. Okay? Just if I had a choice, I'm just telling you, between one or the other, at least one makes sense. The other one is just delusion. Complete delusion. Oh, Lord help us. Channel 0 pops in and says hello. Hey, welcome in. There's Dustin Fuller. Peter VZ joining us from the Netherlands. Who else? Katrina says, hope I can get one sometime soon. Well, remember, Katrina, there's still GLINet's option, their Comet, and there's still Nano KVM that you can order from Amazon and have it in a couple days. They're more or less kind of the same thing. They do the job. They look a little different. The software is a little different. One may be better at some things or be a little more rough around the edges than the other, but they're so inexpensive, and you can always return it to Amazon if you don't like it anyway. Hopefully these will be on Amazon soon, because then you know the shipping will be quick. I don't know that it'll sell for $69. Depends on the tariffs and everything, and if they affect it. That's yet to be determined, but even if it adds $10 or $20, it's still a bargain. In my opinion, it's really damn cool and well worth it. Remember, you're not paying for any software licenses on this. You own it. Use it forever. You're not paying for anything. You've already paid for it. Use it to your heart's content. Barry Klein says you can't show a great product and then state you've lived you've lived without it your whole life. Things you show trigger CPAS, which is Carey Product Acquisition Syndrome. Ask me how I know. So you look, I don't like to show products you can't buy. And I don't want to show products I don't recommend. Sometimes it just happens. This is one of those things that just happened. And the fact that the whole tariff thing just came out of nowhere from the time I ordered this to the time that happened, I just got in under the wire. That was just dumb luck. I should have ordered this back in January, all right? I've never had one before. I don't really think I need it. Now that I've got it, I don't know how I've been living without it. So if I had hesitated longer, I'd be in the same position. I'd be waiting like you. However, there are alternatives you can get today. All right, the one that you can get right now is the SiSpeed Nano KVM. It does the same thing. It's implemented a little bit differently, but it's mostly the same. The GLINet Comet, it's not released yet. Even I don't have one. So put your order in now if you want to get one of those. Now, I don't know how you get the IP address off of it. I know there's ways that you can search for it, but I love having the screen, and I'm a little worried that the GLINet does not have a screen. But for 70 bucks, 80 bucks, I'll roll those dice. I spend more than that on a mini PC. Let's shut this off. Let's take it another level just to really showcase how useful this is. And thank you for your comments and your feedback there, of course. Let's go back over to our browser. And window capture this bad boy right here. All right, so now we're on the JetKVM page, right? What was my IP address again? Where's my glasses? Where's my glasses? Can't see so good. This is... Oh, okay. Come up here. Again, I'm still using the same keyboard. I'm not... There's only one keyboard on the desk. That's us right there. Now the mouse, when I move it, you'll see the other one trail behind. By the way, if that drives you crazy, you can turn that off. You can just go into settings, and you can tell it on the mouse, don't show me the other mouse. There's a thing here called a jiggler, and that makes the mouse move periodically to keep the remote connected machine awake in case it goes to sleep after a certain amount of inactivity. So you can turn the jiggler on, scroll sensitivity, and then of course hide cursor. So if I check that box to hide the cursor, now when I go back, you only see one mouse, just like you would on any remote access software. There's always a lag, but that lag is milliseconds behind, so you don't have to see that if you don't want to. Let's turn this off. So we'll go to Start, Shut Down, whoops, Start. Oh, and again, we can go full screen, so it looks like we're just right on the monitor. We're right on the machine. Start, Shut her down. Okay. Back in the browser. We're live streaming. There's my OBS down here. This is the streaming computer we're on. Now it says connection issue detected, and that's because the machine is powered off the KVM, because there's no power on the machine on this computer. And again, we can go into the BIOS and check. There may be a BIOS setting to keep power on. But you'll notice the LEDs on the Ethernet port are still blinking, and yours on your computer probably does the same. Even on Wi-Fi, though they don't normally have lights to indicate activity. But you can often just enable Wake on LAN, or magic packets as it's called, and you can wake it up that way through any remote software pretty much, and certainly through this as well. So that's not like an additional hardware thing you have to buy. It's probably already built in and you're just not using it. Now let's just unplug this mini PC. I really love this. This thing is a workhorse. All right, so this is the mini PC. It's got this little stand on it. And if you guys missed this review from about 8 months ago, I forgot I had it. I mean, this thing is a monster. It's just a beast. I love this little guy. It's not a cheap one either. This thing is a powerhouse in a little package. Now, it's bigger than a regular mini PC. But you see here, it's got a webcam on it, so you can use it as a webcam. It's got a little privacy filter. See the little red dot right there? It's got a SD card reader up there. This thing is just... Let me start it. It's so just freaking cool. It's expensive though, but worth it. Just like me. Let's take, for example, let's go back over here. Let's get our little Ace Magic Mini PC out from the other day, the T8 Plus. Plug the video into it. We'll use any of the 3 video outputs. Plug it into USB. And we got to plug it into the network. Or we could connect via Wi-Fi, but I like to plug into the network just to keep life a little simpler on a live video. That's it. Of course, I need power, but I mean, that's all our connections right there. And this will control it. So it doesn't matter that this is a budget PC. It doesn't matter that's, you know, $110 and that's $70. Let's get our power adapter out. And give it power, which goes right here. Now I do have a problem with the length of the power cord, so bear with me for a second because I'm trying not pull this off the table. Let's see if I can meet it halfway here. Okay, we're almost there. Okay. Now the JetKVM is not getting any power. That tells me once again on this model here, there's no power to these USB ports when it's off. It may be a setting in a BIOS we can turn on, maybe not. But we could always run the USB splitter cable to like a cell phone charger or something else to keep it powered on, regardless if the unit is on or off. But I don't care, because I'm just going to turn it on. When I turn it on, now this gets power. This is going to initialize. It's going to give us a new IP address. So right now, it's talking to the, right there, it's already done. So if I go back over to my window capture, up here our IP address was 70, but now it's 73. So I'll just change that last number to a 3. And there's our monitor. This is what's happening right now on the machine, a blank screen. Oh, and there's Windows loading. So remember, to use remote software, we have to have Windows load first. Then the remote software within Windows can run. So let's go full screen on this. Right click, go to System, and we can see the properties of this machine that you can tell your N100 processor, 12 gigs of RAM, and we're clearly on this little teeny tiny machine. Shut it down. Start, shut down, restart. And now when it restarts, you see, normally I wouldn't see restarting, you know, sitting there forever. As soon as Windows unloads all the files, my remote connection would be lost. And then I wouldn't be able to see what's happening right now. So I'm going to start pressing delete, and now I'm in the BIOS of this little tiny mini PC. And if there's an option in here to keep the power on, that's power management for the CPU. Whoops, I hit escape, and that brought me back to a window. Let's go full screen again. Let's go to exit full screen, press escape. Oh boy, so how do I get out of this? Escape to exit. So let me hit escape again. Okay. Trusted computing, that's going to be our TPM and all that other fun stuff in there. And sometimes there is an option. And again, this is a pretty basic computer, so it may not have... See, there's the wake on LAN that we can turn on if we want to do that. And I'm looking to see if there's an option to keep power through the USB. And on this model, there does not appear. But again, the older the computer and the cheaper, like this is a T8 Plus, it's a very basic machine. If you want these more advanced features, you have to spend a bit more money to get them. And you know, maybe when you bought it, you didn't have that need, but now today you want it and you wish you would have bought a more expensive. These are the things you need to think of for these reasons when you're making a purchase. So I don't see that option in here, but nonetheless, it's no different than me standing in front of it with a keyboard and mouse hooked up to it. I have all the same control, and my video output's simply going through the network, the same as the keyboard and video. Now you see it says connection issue detected. That's because when this machine shut off just now, it cut power to the KVM. So on a machine like this, I'd want a separate power source to the KVM. I would use the USB splitter that it comes with, because when it reboots again, I will likely lose that IP. It'll change to another IP address. By looking at it, I can see, since I'm standing in front of it, it changed to 7.5 now. Alternately, if I'm like, oh darn it, I don't know where it went, I can just go to the app, because it's assigned to the cloud KVM, and just connect to it this way over the network, over the internet instead of over the local network. It works pretty much the same. The lag is maybe a little bit more, a few milliseconds more, but overall, it's just another way. You don't have to freak out. And then if I want to see the IP address assigned to it, I'm sure there's another way to do it. I just can't tell you what it is right now. But I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. And then we're going to come back over here to camera 1 and get back over to some more questions, comments, feedback. David Graham with a $5 super chat says, convenience for customers to buy it as part of the maintenance package, then you don't have to mail it. It's pretty rare I have to get into a BIOS. It's just this whole Windows 10 to 11 thing and me choosing to turn TPM off so my customers don't accidentally get Windows 11. I'll tell you what, I was at a customer's office and they said they're ready for Windows 11. And I said, well, while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and turn TPM back on because they're all different motherboards. And while I'm here, I'll just look at them and set them now. And the reason I did that was so they wouldn't accidentally get Windows 11. Well, not 2 weeks went by before I got the call. I don't know why I've got Windows 11 on my machine. I didn't. Yes, you did. No, it happened by itself. No, it didn't. It came up with a message. You didn't read it and you clicked OK. You gave it permission to install. That's why I turned TPM off. Now, thankfully, they said, look, we wanted Windows 11 anyway. We just didn't know it was going to be on this machine today. And now we can't print. Well, that's because someone moved the printer and the cable became unplugged. But I said, rest assured, you gave that permission. When I turn TPM off, the computer is not compatible with Windows 11 without TPM. And so Microsoft won't even offer it to you. That's why I turn it off. I'm trying to avoid those calls. So now to turn it back on, I have to get into a BIOS, and because they bought their computers at different times, they might have one model of motherboard from one company and another model of motherboard from another company, and yet another model of motherboard from either company. And all the BIOSes are laid out differently. I don't have them memorized. I can't tell you where to go and look. You have to either hold your phone to the screen so I can see it on my phone, or I have to get in the car and drive over there and do it for you. So this isn't something that I would include with a purchase, because it still requires the customer to hook it up for me. If I have a customer that says, yeah, I can hook that up, no problem, I'll drop it in the mail. Heck, when they're available on Amazon, I'll just order one from Amazon and have it shipped directly to them. And then I don't have to pack it, go to the post office, wait in line, pay for the postage. Just let it ship, change the shipping address to them. Say, hey, you're going to get a package from Amazon tomorrow. Let me know when you get it, and I'll walk you through the setup. And that's it. They just read to me what the screen says, and I can connect to it. Like in that case, let's say I never had the unit, so I never paired it. I can walk them through that over the phone, or I can still use my remote access software like Instant House Call. Log into the computer, because remember, if this is the monitor now, the customer can't see what's going on anymore. But the system's on, it's in Windows, Instant House Call's running. Then I can configure this through Instant House Call and set it up through the app and assign it to a cloud if I want to. So the customer doesn't have to read the IP address to me, but I can literally like log into, let's say for example, I need to get in the BIOS. And this is an office with several computers. Another thing that I could do is log into one of the other computers. Think about this for a minute. So this is booted up and turned on right out of the box. Customer's done nothing but plug it in. I did not pre-configure it first and send it. But pre-configuring is like 2 clicks. So I can log into any other computer at the office and ask the customer to read me the number on this, the local IP that I cannot connect to anywhere but inside of the building. So they read that to me, and I type it into a neighboring computer somewhere in that building that's on the same network, pulls it up. So I don't have to necessarily be on that machine. I could be on the machine next to it. Once I pulled it up, I can then go through the configuration however I want. And then I can connect to it directly, or I can continue to connect to it through Instant House Call from another neighboring machine in the same build. Like the possibilities of this, and I don't mean to confuse you, but it's so simple, it's almost difficult to comprehend how easy it is. But I assure you, when it clicks, it all makes sense. And you're like, well, that's obvious, right? Once you realize, oh, that's not rocket science at all. That's really basic and simple. That's it. That's what I love about it. I love to keep things simple. And again, if I ordered them and I had a few extras, I'd go ahead and set them up on the cloud. Then when the customer logs into it, I'll see it as an option. You know, I can name it customer name. And then when I log into apps.jetkvm.com, it's assigned to me, and I see mine, and I see somebody else's, and then I see theirs. And I click on it, instantly I'm connected. I could set a password if I want to. In this example, for the sake of the way I'm using it, I don't need a password. But you can. Remember, the account it's associated to in the cloud is already password protected. And the computer itself may require a login password anyway. So this just offers so much freedom for me. I just really wish I would have ordered them back in January, because I would have tested it. I like it. I would like some more, please. I've tested it. I hemmed and hawed about it for a couple months, kept seeing more reviews. And I'm like, okay. And Mara, by the way, she's like, you know, she's from the corporate world. She sees these things that are $5,000 KVM. She goes, you need that. You know, what the heck am I going to use that? What do I need that for? In the meantime, I'm going up and down the stairs 15 times. Is this ready to reboot? No? Back upstairs. Oh, I forgot. I left that machine on. Let me go downstairs before I go to bed. Oh, it's waiting on me to reboot it this whole time. Oh, she could have been done by now. I suppose I'm going to get fat without going up and down the stairs as often. So if you see me start to bloat up, it's because of this. Raj D renews membership. Now a member for 25 months. Thanks, Raj. Jim says he needed this device 20 years ago. Well, did you have broadband 20 years ago? I don't know. You would have had enough speed there, but on a local network for sure. And these have been around for more than 20 years, just in the corporate world. Katrina says, I love the settings to hide the other mouse cursor because it's driving her crazy to see the one mouse leading and the other mouse following close behind. I like to see it, but yeah, I could live without it too. I don't care one way or the other personally. Bajan Guy says, hey, that's a nice keyboard. Ah, thank you. I like it. This was another experiment where I bought this Gravistar keyboard, and I like it so much, I bought all the accessories. When they arrive, I'll share them with you. In the meantime, you know, I've got the old mouse, but I will have a matching mouse, and I'll have a matching Bluetooth speaker. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I keep the RGB off just to keep the battery life as long as I can, and I love this keyboard so much more than the other one. It's just a pleasure to type on, and I think it's very unique looking. The other one was unique looking, but this is so much more comfortable, and it's not Bluetooth. I hate Bluetooth keyboards and mice. Hate them. Unless you're using a tablet or a smartphone, good luck adjusting anything in your BIOS with a Bluetooth keyboard. I can adjust a BIOS remotely from 10,000 miles away easier with this, and it's impossible to do with a Bluetooth keyboard on a Windows-based computer. You just can't do it. You have to get a regular keyboard to adjust your BIOS. The Bluetooth doesn't connect until Windows loads. So what do you do before Windows loads if you need to use a keyboard? Press delete to get in the BIOS. Ain't gonna work. Once you're in the BIOS, if you somehow manage to make it in there, keyboard is dead. There's no Bluetooth pairing until you load Windows. But with this, I can leave a Bluetooth connected keyboard and it don't matter. I'll just connect to it from another computer. But this is a wireless keyboard that it does have Bluetooth, but it's in the 2.4 gig mode right now. I love this keyboard. Absolutely. And if I want it flat, I just bend those legs back and now it's completely flat. The other legs on the other keyboard, they would just pop off. They were meant to be easily replaceable, but they're so easily replaceable, just picking the keyboard up by the wrong way and the foot comes off in my hand. These are permanently attached. They're not going anywhere. So thank you for noticing. And we have a full video review on this from a couple days ago if you're interested in learning more about the keyboard. And we're going to follow up with the accessories when they arrive. James Jennings said, new here, thank you. Hey James, welcome into our community. We have the nicest community here. We are always welcome to other kind people. So if you're kind, we hope you'll stick around and become a regular part of our community. I'm not aware of a community of this size or larger where everybody is universally on the same page of kindness. Sometimes we get some new viewers who don't get that, and I'm pretty quick to chew them out. But they have a choice, right? They can say, okay, this isn't like a regular YouTube channel where everybody just does whatever they want and disrupts. This is more like a classroom. And in the sense that you have friends that you meet in school, we have friends that are in our community here that they live thousands of miles apart. They've never met each other, but they've become friends through the community. And on top of that, we have some very, very technical savvy community members here who can answer a lot of your questions, in many cases better than I can. So we hope you'll stick around and become a part of it, because we're always looking to grow with more kind, like-minded individuals. And this is how it works. We interact with you guys. Our videos are live, and how long our videos go depend on how much interaction we get. If everybody's quiet and nobody's speaking up, well, video probably won't go on as long. we hope that you'll stick around and realize what we're doing here is very different from most other YouTube channels, and that you'll like that. That's what we're hoping. So welcome in. Sometimes people, I don't know what to do in a chat room. What do I do? Just come in and say hello. Then watch what happens. Or don't say anything and no one even knows you're here. That's a little creepy. I'm just going to watch you guys through the window. Come on, join us. Say hello. That's all you got to do. The magic happens all on its own. Friendships will form whether you like it or not. Well, the community's awesome here. Katrina says, I love your wonderful educational online classroom. Yeah, yay for Professor Carey and his 35-year tenure. Yikes. I'm not even 35 years old. How's that even possible? I can have 35 years of experience. That's my Generation X math. Generation X, we got to adulthood at about 8. And then we just, whatever that was, that young adult, you know, fend for yourself, cook for yourself, babysit your sister, let yourself in the house, latchkey kids, neglect and hose water, you know, that made us grow up real quick, but only so far. And then we just stopped growing up. So we're all somewhere around our 30s and just never moved on mentally. It's universal. Google it. It's a thing. Look it up here on YouTube. Mecca Cameron said, sometimes the conversation will just pull you into the chat. I hope so. I hope so. Rupin Yeramin says, happy Sunday. You haven't opened up the Minis Forum AI X1 Pro yet, have you? Yes, we already did a review on it. I just didn't like that review. I didn't... Look, these shows are live and unscripted. And like anybody else, I have good days and bad days. I have no control over that as far as I know. Otherwise, I would choose differently. I wouldn't intentionally look back at a video that just went live and go, so glad I just did that so poorly. Like, I give it my all. But sometimes there are challenges and obstacles that still get the best of me, and I do the best I can. But I felt like I did not do justice for the Minis Forum AI X1 Pro. And I will be going back and re-reviewing it. It's going to be a few weeks because we have a schedule lined up. But I intend to give it the review it deserves and should have gotten to begin with, because as powerful, as much as I say I love this machine, oh boy, that is going to be a tough battle between which one I like better, you know, especially when it gets to the AI stuff. And by the way, there's like 4 other Minis Forum PCs that I don't want to part with because they're so amazing. And if you ask me, I had to part with them. I don't know that I could. This is one of them. I don't want to part with this. This thing is amazing. I'm just not sure what to do with it, but we'll cross that bridge another day. Also, there is a non-pro version of the AI X1. It's a bit smaller, not quite as powerful, a little less expensive. We just got that in. So I'll probably review that one first and then go back and redo the AI X1 Pro as a step up from that, you know, to keep the expansions. Rather than go backwards, we'll go forwards, and we'll just pretend that first review didn't happen. But it's up. I didn't delete it. Not my best work. I'm human, despite what you might have heard on the internet. Good days and bad days. That was just didn't come out the way I wanted it to. But it's live and it's real. I don't know what else to tell you. And you know it's real when it sucks. Okay? When you go, wow, that guy's just having a bad day. Yeah, that's real. Everybody else edits that crap out, man. I'm the only one that I know of that doesn't. Doug Betts, he doesn't edit his stuff out. And, you know, he has a few bad days too. That's just live, you know. Comedian can go on stage and just kill their comedy routine. Audience laughing, everybody's having a good time. Then the comedian goes on stage the next day, same jokes. Audience is yawning and walking out of the room. Is that the audience, or is the comedian just not, their energy's not in it like it was? Hard to say, but that's live on stage. That's just the way it goes. Good shows and bad shows. Hopefully we have more good shows than bad ones, but either way, you're watching them live without edits in real time. And if you appreciate reality, genuine authenticity, and transparency, find me another channel that does this. Just like I said, Doug Betts does it. Mike's Unboxing, how-tos and reviews and how-tos. He'll run some live shows, again, all unedited and live. I don't think I've ever seen him have a bad show. But he's British, so it's different. Stiff upper lip and all that, you know. Thank you for your kind words, Katrina. I appreciate you. Jeff H. says hello, welcome in. David Graham says the mind stays young no matter how old you get. Not for all of us. But yeah, let's hope so. He thinks he's still a puppy. Yeah. Who hasn't said that to their old dog? Arnold says, what's the latest on the mini PC with the BIOS issue? We're going to attempt to reflash the BIOS using a kit, a BIOS flash kit that does not require removal of the BIOS chip. And Jamie McGregor, who is a BIOS expert at a deeper level than anybody else I know, has informed me that if we go to, let's see, what would it be? CH341. I can't remember. Is that what we call it? BIOS programmer? Yeah. Let's check this out. I'll give you a little sneak peek. We're waiting on one other part to arrive. But if we go to window capture mode here, you see this right here, this CH341 EEPROM BIOS programmer. There's actually a bunch of them down here. And I think the one I got was like 10 bucks, this bestseller. And it includes a bunch of really cool stuff here. This plugs into a USB port of a working computer. And then your BIOS chip sits in this socket, and that lever locks it in place. But since our BIOS chip is super teeny tiny, we can unsolder it and then solder it on this little board here if we want to, which I'm not going to do. Or we can connect this piece into an adapter like this piece and then plug that in to this piece. And then this clamp has the pins on it. You clamp it onto the chip. But this chip is so tiny, there's too many other surrounding chips too close that clamp's going to work. So there's one other adapter piece that I need that I have to hold on exactly right with pressure down onto it, running into one of these adapters here that then plug into this. This plugs into the USB port, and then it'll tell us, you know, if it can read the chip and see there's a chip there, and then we can flash that chip without removing it from the circuit board. So while we're going to use any computer to do this, we'll make sure the other computer we're flashing is not plugged in or turned on in any way. And it should be really easy. Now, what that's going to do, if it works, and I want to make sure we're very clear on this, if this works, it will make the computer boot again back to the original problem we were trying to solve. It will not solve the first problem. When we were trying to fix the first problem, I thought a BIOS update might do it. I grabbed the wrong BIOS update. It worked to flash it, but as soon as we turned it off, it will not even power up anymore. So that BIOS is messed up. So I made a second problem. By doing this, for the experience of doing it, if it works, we're going to fix the second problem we made, which leaves us with the first problem, which is how the machine arrived. It will not fix that first problem. But we could get back to work on trying to solve different ways to fix it. It's probably not feasible to fix it, but because it was only $9.99 for the flash thing, and I've never done it before, I didn't even know you could do that. I thought you guys might enjoy that. So there is an adapter I'm waiting for, which I had to order from AliExpress, ironically. And so it's going to take a couple weeks. But when we get it, we'll follow up and go through the process and show you what it is. I don't recommend this process to any of you. It's more like, did you know you could do this? And does it work? That's all. It won't fix anything. I mean, it just should take us back in time to the way the machine was. I did back up the BIOS before I started. Good thing I did that. And yeah, that's the status. Thank you for asking. Katrina H says, back to the AIX1. That's really great. I'll be looking forward to it. Yeah, and Minis Forum just announced the MSA2. If we go to YouTube, check this out. Check this out. Let me go to Minis Forum. They just did a video, a live video introducing this product. MSA2. I'm just going to search for that here in YouTube. And yeah, they did a 3-hour live stream, and you can subscribe to them. And strongly recommend you do if you have an interest in learning the latest that Minis Forum is working on, because they will show you on YouTube before they, you know, make a big public PR marketing campaign out of it. So right here, you see how the channel's called Minis Forum Official? This was just 11 hours ago, and they're introducing the basically, it's the MSA1, but with an upgrade. Hence the name MSA2, the A being AMD. So it's an AMD base, and they've got links down here. They should take you to the site. So it's already in the US store. There's a $30 launch special. Let's click on that. That should take us right to Minis Forum store. That's $1,100, but look at the specs. It's an AMD Ryzen 9 9955HX. They don't expect to ship this to the end of May with 64 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte solid state drive already in there that you can upgrade. This thing's a monster. Zen 5 architecture, 16 cores, 32 threads. Are you kidding me? Anyway, if you want to learn more about it, look at all the 2 SFP plus ports, 2 2.5 gig ports, a couple of Thunderbolts, I think, back here, or at least USB 4 with display port out rather. USB 3, 3.2 probably. 3 M.2 Gen 4 slots inside that supports RAID 0 and RAID 1. There's some speeds at RAID 0. Anyway, latest and greatest. And it looks the same on the outside as the MSA1 and the MS01. The 01 is the Intel model. And these are wonderful workstations. They're not intended for gaming, but if you want to make games, if you want to do actual work, this will probably leave whatever you're using right now to watch this video way in the dust. It's not even out yet. That's a future computer. So we'll see if we can get one of those too. I don't think it's going to be that much different than the MSA1, just the MSA1 on steroids. That's all. I'm not expecting it to be earth-shatteringly different, but just quite a bit more power and performance as they continue to evolve the technology and make it more affordable to have more power and more capabilities in that little tiny form factor of a package. It's very impressive to see Minis Forum innovate, because who else is doing this? And at what price, if they are? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that Minis Forum computer is about $500 less than Lenovo's version. Yeah.
Katrina says she has that CH341 programmer, and in an attempt to gain some experience with it, just for myself, maybe for clients later. I have no interest in doing this BIOS flashing like this for business. Absolutely not. I would rather just buy a new thing and replace it and get on with life and not have to worry about any callbacks or support issues that may or may not be related, and I may not even know. For a home project to mess around as a hobbyist, as a home lab enthusiast, it's fun. Customers don't pay me to put a 500-piece puzzle together. They'll buy the photo and hang it on the wall. It's just the way it works. But you at home, you might just rather put the puzzle together because you enjoy that process. And when it's done, maybe you want to frame it and put it on the wall. See what I'm saying? Like, there's a hobby side of this business. Well, there's a hobby side of computers, and then there's the business side of computers. And so what you do is on you. But for me, I'm just telling you, for me, don't expect me to be doing that any other time other than for a channel project for fun. And that means we have the luxury of time to do it. And right now, well, business is slow, and it has been slow. I hope and I think when Windows 10 support gets closer to end of life, my business is going to ramp up and get crazy. So this is the calm before the storm, and I'm trying to make the most of it. When Jamie was trying to convince me to buy this and do it, my initial response was no. And then I said, $10, you know, for the experience. Because again, even if we make it work, it goes back to the original problem it had, which is still unusable. I don't even need the computer. And it was from AliExpress, so I'm stuck with it, with no support, no help. I knew that when I bought it. I knew this was a potential downside, but statistically, my experience has been usually it's fine. This time it wasn't. Well, I knew that when I ordered it. I knew that was possible, and here we are. So I'm not too broken up about it. It is what it is, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So if I flash the BIOS and the thing catches fire and blows up, no blood, no foul, you know? So I see it. But I wouldn't treat a customer like that. No way. I wouldn't have a business anymore if I did. Samuel Nason says, I have that GMK Tech mini PC, the gaming AMD Ryzen 7 8845. It's a 5 gigahertz mini PC with 64 gigs. Oh, that GMK Tech. Yeah, that GMK Tech has a very similar form factor. There was something about it I didn't like. I can't remember. But believe me, it caught my eye. There's something about the specs it was missing that threw me, and I can't remember what it was. But again, as a workstation, like if you want to find something close to the MSA1, MSA2, or MS01, yes, that GMK Tech kind of follows in that same form factor footprint. And not having one, I don't know how they compare, but it's not a gaming PC. And neither are the mini swarms. Those are workstations. But, you know, fair point. David Graham said, I'm looking forward to seeing it once it takes off. It will cause more computers to go obsolete, like Windows 11. You must have AI. You're going to want AI. That's the thing. Nobody's ready for this. Once you see what AI is going to do for you, once they get it all worked out, which isn't going to take very long, you're going to wonder how you've been without it all your life. And certainly the younger generations that grew up with it won't know life without it. It's going to be so full and comprehensive, it's going to take all the technical side of things away. If I wanted to make some adjustments on my phone, I go into settings and I look for, okay, I don't want the feedback when I push things on my phone. I don't want to feel it vibrate or hear it click. Is that under sound and vibrations? And I'm looking under submenus. Well, you can just use the AI and say, turn off the touch click. And it knows what you want. It just does it. These kind of things, you know, help me write this letter. Help me rephrase what I've written to make it sound more professional. Or how can I say this in a way that doesn't come across as cut and dry? How can we put a little warmth into this, make it sound a little more numb, the way corporations send out these make it sound like a professional corporation. And it'll rewrite it for you. You can design a video game and not know any code. Just tell it what you want to make. It's crazy. And in the medical field, you're going to see cures to things that you didn't know were happening in your lifetime because it's going to speed everything up. It's going to be amazing, and nobody's ready for it. It's hard to explain what it can do when you've never had it and don't understand the depth of it until you experience it. Smartphones for many people are an example. How did we go our whole lives without one? Some people can't. They're so dependent on it. You know, you take a smartphone away from a teenager, you might as well throw them in jail. I mean, it doesn't get much worse of punishment. So in any event, you wait, you'll see. You'll say, I remember Carey told me about this. I had no idea that's what he meant. There's just no other way until you experience what it's going to do that you're going to just, holy moly, where's this been? This is amazing. You'll see. And nobody's ready. Nobody understands. Very few people, and then when I say everybody, I mean the general public, doesn't understand how massive of an impact this is going to make on everybody's lives. And there'll be a downside. There's always people that will use it for bad. Hopefully when people buy hammers, they're using it for a constructive purpose. Some people attack others with hammers. It's not what it's made for. But that doesn't mean all hammers are bad. It's just there's going to be some misuse. But hopefully the good use of it will far outpace the bad. We'll see. Be friends with your computers. Don't get mad at them and smack them. They'll remember when the uprising comes. The AI uprising. Samuel says his Chrome browser has been crashing lately. In the live chat, YouTube has an issue where everybody's browser, doesn't matter if it's Chrome. If you're in the live chat, it's going to crash your browser. It's been going on since last April 2024. They're not fixing, I don't know why. Maybe if enough people complain, keep reporting it to YouTube when it happens. Maybe if enough of us complain often enough, they'll get around to fixing it, but it's not you. In fact, if you look at the top of your Chrome browser, the tab that you have open, you'll see memory usage. And that memory usage just climbs and climbs and climbs as you're in live chat until it can't do anymore, and then it crashes. So you can hit the refresh button and reload the chat and your memory resets again, but you can keep an eye on that memory usage and you'll watch it climb, and you'll notice when it gets to a certain point on your computer, it'll crash every single time. And you'll also notice it only happens when you're in a live chat of any YouTube live broadcast. Nothing we can do about it, but it's not you. Tomorrow is our members only video for our members. The folks you see in green there, like, well, Katrina H. Those are videos available only to members. They're invited to not only watch the video, but to join me in live chat. Those videos are never, ever made public. And it's just a more intimate, cozy, and formal way to hang out with our supporters. So they're not competing for attention in the chat room when we have a couple hundred viewers. This will be a couple dozen viewers, 3 dozen viewers, 4 dozen viewers, and that's it. And that's the way they stay forever. And that is a benefit of membership. Also a benefit is being able to go back more than 12 months into our video archive. All the videos we do are available for free for 12 months other than members' videos. After that, they go into the archive. And if you want access to the archive, it's a benefit of membership. The other benefit of membership is it enables us to buy stuff without sponsorship where we're told what rules we have to follow, or what we have to say, when we have to film it. And we have to get approval from the manufacturer in most cases before we're allowed to show it to you. That's not me. They might as well just make a commercial and go pay a marketing company. I'm not a media group. I'm a tech with a YouTube channel. And so this keyboard, this is from the contributions we have from memberships and super chats from our members. Without them, this video would not exist. You wouldn't even know it was missing because you never knew to expect it, right? But because of them, we can share this video to the world for free because they're underwriting the costs. In a case like this Minis form, this is way too expensive for us to buy. Minis form sent it to us under the condition that we review it honestly whenever we want to, which I've already done. I'm free to say anything I want to say about it. That's it. There is no contract, there's no NDA, nothing. So I appreciate working with companies like Minis Forum. Not only do they make good stuff, I really like it, but the company I also really like. You see me go off on TeamViewer. I really like the TeamViewer software, and I cannot explain how passionately I dislike the people who run the company and how terrible I think they are. So I don't show the product. No matter how good the product is, if the company behind it sucks, I want nothing to do with them, and I don't want to show them to you or tell you about them. So I'm happy to find that combination with Minis Forum, that they have good products I like and a great company that's easy to work with. If every company was this way, we'd have a lot more products to show you. But when a company sends you a product, more often than not, they want to make sure that you're not going to talk bad about it. Why would they give you a product for you to just make them look bad? How do you think that's going to play out to their boss? You sent this guy this keyboard, and then he told us how terrible it was. Why'd you do that? Maybe you need to look for a job somewhere else. You think I pay you to give us negative press? So that's their side of it. Our side of it is, we're just going to go buy this keyboard. I didn't even reach out to Gravistar. I just said, I like it, I'm going to buy it. I bought it from Amazon where I could return it. And I'm taking the money that comes in from memberships and super chats and PayPal, and I'm reinvesting it back in the channel. That's as easy as it is. Whatever happened to, I'm going to give you a subscribe, that doesn't mean anything anymore. Those days are gone now. So we have to, that's why so many YouTube channels have closed up. Our good friends over at Tech Deals, just gone. And I can imagine the reason why is there's just no income there. It costs more to make the videos than you can earn. So as a hobby, if you want to come home after a hard day's work and make a video and then get harassment from members of the public that decide they don't like you, you don't do anything right, everything is wrong, and you're not making any money and it's costing you money, and you think, why am I doing this? But with our community being as amazing as they are, they're enabling this channel to continue in a way that other channels can't. And if you haven't considered membership, please do, because that's what makes the difference over the kind of content we make and how often we can make the content. I'm willing. It's just a matter of figuring out that balance of finding companies that'll send us product under no condition, that make a good product too, that helps, versus us buying whatever we want to buy and reviewing it, which is another option, but this is a $200 keyboard. So it takes a lot of $10 memberships to get to a $200 keyboard. Not to mention, YouTube's taken 30% of that right off the top, and there's sales tax on this. It gets pricey. So if I get the matching mouse and the Bluetooth speaker and all the accessories, that's another $500. But we're going to do it. And I hope you find it interesting and that it's unique content that's just not the same thing regurgitated online. Right? I want to bring you something original, something I think is interesting as a tech. And these are the barriers or the boundaries that I have to work within. And that limits what I want to do with what I can do. So we appreciate, like you can't imagine, all of our supporters, because without them, there wouldn't be this video for you to watch. Flat out. YouTube revenue from ads maybe would put a tank of gas in my car. Maybe. So that just doesn't work anymore. It used to. I wish it still did. But that's where we are today, just in case you're wondering. Jeff H. said, what a great NASCAR, a Sunday NASCAR in Cary. I never really watched NASCAR. I was more of an IndyCar guy, but we're just going to watch these cars go around in circles to the left. I enjoy watching it for a few minutes, but I'm not a sports guy in general. But that's cool. It looks great in HD. It does. Phil Stott said he watched a live feed from Talladega, over 60,000 viewers, and it did not, his browser didn't crash. I don't know. If it's, I don't know what, if you were in the live chat, is that what you're saying? There were 60,000 people in the live, the number of viewers versus the number of people in live chat are two very different numbers. But it's, you know, I'm not a developer. I don't know what's going on, but I know it's happening across all browsers, and we know it's related to YouTube's live chat. That's the extent of the knowledge that I have. And therefore, nothing I can do about it. YouTube has to fix this, or Google has to fix it. If I could fix it, it would have been done 11 months ago. Oh, Lawrence says his country doesn't allow for that to be membership because he's not in the USA. We have lots of members outside of the United States. We have members all throughout Europe and Brazil. So this is the first I've heard of a country where you couldn't become a member. And there's other people. Did I say right turns? Jeff H says it's NASCAR's left turns. I guess it depends on the direction they're trying. Are we going clockwise or are we going counterclockwise? That's clockwise, that's counterclockwise. Anyway, details. You could tell I don't watch it, right? Anyway, back to the whole membership thing. I haven't heard of that before. We have lots of other members throughout other countries, but yeah, I'm not sure if what you're saying is a misunderstanding of how it works, or if in fact what you're saying is 100% accurate. You'd have to know what country you're in, and I'd have to look it up. People can support us through Amazon gift cards and PayPal contributions. You don't have to be members. It's just that the members only benefits with the archive and the members only videos are controlled by YouTube. I don't have any control over that. So in that sense, you know, to support us through these other means, you just don't get those other benefits. And I can't do anything about that because it's YouTube. But at the end of the day, the more funds we have to work with, the more videos we can do. So just so you know. Lawrence says always in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So it's quite possible that Trinidad and Tobago don't support the option. That's unfortunate. Scott says he's off to supper. Thanks, Carey and Mara. Have a great weekend. Yeah, you too, Scott. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jeff H, what's the dinging in the background? Go back to the beginning of the video, Jeff. We've already talked about that. Joshua says the only place memberships aren't available is Russia. Oh, I don't know that that's true. I'm pretty sure they're not available in North Korea or China, but I don't know. I don't know. YouTube controls all of this. So it's not a decision I have or can make. Bill Stodd said maybe his browser not crashing is the way he's got his network set up. Hey, listen, if you figure it out, Phil, you please let us know, because I'd love to test your theory and see if it's true. If I can find an answer to it, or I'm not waiting on Google or YouTube to get off their butts, well, that would be fantastic. I'm hoping I got everybody's comment. We're going to wrap it up for today. We're just past our 2-hour mark here by about 20 minutes. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Did not know on Friday that I would be making this video today because I didn't know when this was going to show up in the mail. I am so delighted. I'm so tickled with it. The next thing, again, is I've got that Nano KVM coming, and I've got the GLINet Comet coming. So we'll have 3 of the devices. They all essentially do the same job. My understanding is this is the best of the bunch, but you know what? Those other ones may be good enough for me, and this might be used for, you know, maybe Mara wants to use it for something, or maybe I send it off for a client to do some work. I don't know yet. I've got to make that determination. This may be overkill for my needs. So I'm okay if the Nano KVM lacks a little bit, or if the GLINet Comet still, you know, as a first generation product, still needs some polishing. They still may be more than adequate for what I need it for, or maybe not. That's why when I get them, we'll do some follow-up videos, and then once we do all three, then we can do a final video bringing all three together side by side for comparison. Dustin Fullers is great show as always. Peter says he has a membership in Russia. It works fine. Yeah. I don't know. Joshua Fawcett said, I got my JetKVM a couple months ago. It's good, but its features are lacking at the moment. I've been focusing on getting them out before working on software. What features do you want to see? Because I mean, for my needs, it's got more features than I'll use. That's why I'm just curious. Everybody's got different requirements or use case scenarios. My use case scenarios is pretty unique, I admit. But boy, does it make a big difference in my life. Big. Luke Greeny is saying, thank you, Carey and Mara, for another great show. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Luke. Good to see you. Oh, let me check the phone real quick before we go anywhere. I'm still waiting on a response there from Joshua about what features he's waiting on. I'm just curious. Phone has been, I think it's been quiet. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to say it looks really quiet out there today, which is a nice quiet Sunday. And I appreciate all of our super chats from viewers like Peter VZ, David Graham, Buster, Mark Gaines. Thank you guys so much for your super chats today. And to people renewing or becoming members, Raj D is now a member for 25 months in a row. David Graham renews his membership. This is his 20th month in a row of membership. You guys, I cannot express to you enough my gratitude in making these videos possible. And for the community at large, thank you for hanging out with us in the chat. Just being here and being a part of the community is a contribution. So even if you are not members for any reason, you are always welcome here. We're always happy to see you. And we appreciate you being a part of this amazing community. Because without you, it wouldn't be so amazing, now would it? Thank you to Mara, of course, for all the administrative tasks she does, often at the last minute, like setting us up last night with the JetKVM thumbnail and all the video notes. And then, of course, kind of playing with it with me as we kind of both looked on in amazement with our jaws open wide, our mouths open wide, going, Did you see that? Yeah, we were both quite in awe. So we're not paid anything from JetKVM. They don't even know who I am. I ordered it like anybody else. I like it. But remember, I understand I have a unique use case scenario for this. And I don't know how or what I was thinking back in January. I should have just ordered the darn thing for $70. It's not a lot of money. And I could have been using this for months now and would have had the opportunity to order some more of them. But I didn't have a crystal ball. I still don't. And I didn't know this sort of political issue with China was going to become what it is. But I don't think it's going to last very long. So deep breath, relax. In the meantime, you can get that Nano KVM right now today from Amazon. Well, you can order it today. You'll have it in a couple days. And it should be pretty darn close to this. A little less polished and a little less expensive than this. And Joshua Fawcett said, NTP is a future feature, the network time protocol. There's no way to set time on a lockdown network. Yeah, so, okay, fair enough, I asked. Joshua also says JetKVM is really great. It's open source, and the community are working on several features. Oh, we're just getting started with all of these. Nano KVM is also open source, and Comet is also going to be open source, or it is open source. So we're expecting to see this just get better and better and better. You're getting an early look here, but rest assured, I wasn't the first. There were already content creators ahead of me back in late January, February, when they started shipping to the early, the people, the backing the Kickstarter. I just wasn't sure if it was real, and I didn't want to risk $70. Now I wish I had. That's gambling. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Back to the grind tomorrow. Monday, members only video, 1 o'clock my time, as always. Tuesday, we're going to welcome in Ask Your Computer Guy, Scott Merrill, who is a YouTube content creator and a working technician for over 30 years. And we're going to chat, and we hope you're going to ask us questions in the live chat. That's Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and we'll plan on ending that at 3. So a nice 2-hour live interview with you guys joining us and interacting with us, I hope. And then, not sure if anything's going on Wednesday. Thursday, where's my calendar? Thursday. Thursday should be May 1st, right? Just 4 days from now. I think I got my day right. Our friend Doug Betts, also a YouTube content creator, also a real-life technician for over 30 years, friend of the channel, a friend personally. Always have a good time and always look forward to having Doug Betts on the show. I'm also looking forward to having Scott on the show, but I can't say always because I've never talked to Scott before. But I really think it's going to be a great show. I also think with Doug Betts, it's going to be a great show on Thursday. Again, inviting you guys to interact with us. And then in the future, my goal is to bring both Doug and Scott and me on at the same time. And I'm trying to twist the arm of Mike over at Mike's Unboxing, Reviews, and How To. But there is about an 8 or 9 hour time difference, so it might be difficult for him. But I'm working him over. I'm giving him the 012, trying to convince him and come join us. Whether he joins us, just him and I, or joins us in the group. And then we could have Mike. We have our dream team here. Mike from Mike's Unboxing, Doug Betts from Live Windows Training with Doug Betts, and Scott, Ask Your Computer Guy, real working computer techs running real YouTube channels with a real live audience being able to ask us questions to start fights. We all have our own way of doing things, but I think we all have a mutual respect for one another in our differences. So you might ask a question. This is why I'm laughing. You could ask a question and I say, well, here's how you do that. And then Doug will say, well, I wouldn't do it that way. I'd go this way. And then Scott could say, I agree with Carey or Doug. I don't know. Or he might say, neither one of you. I wouldn't do it either way. And then Mike's Unboxing could sit there and say, this is why I didn't want to be here. Okay. No, Mike's Unboxing, he could say, well, yeah, this will be, and then suddenly there's a whole interaction of difference of opinion and approaches, which is why I love my job so much. I get to do things the way I want to do it. There may be 6 other ways to do it that are all equal to get you to the end result you want. And you as the viewer can benefit from that because now you have all these different flavors to pick from. Somebody might like vanilla and somebody might like strawberry. Pick your flavor. That's the best thing, right? Because with me, it's always vanilla. Always. All right. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we look forward to seeing members tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The rest of you, I hope to see Tuesday at 1 o'clock with Ask Your Computer Guy. Thanks again, Tamara, as always, and to our friends at SCD Keys, where you can get real, legitimate Windows and Office license keys that are already discounted, but you can get a 30% extra discount with code CAREY at checkout. I'm not making a commission on this. It's there for you to save money, and they have 6 months of support after the purchase. It's not a gamble like buying something off eBay or Etsy. This is the real deal, and we're just trying to save you some money without you having to worry about the legitimacy of it. So there you go. We've done the research for you. The links are in the video notes. And if you have any questions or concerns, you're welcome to reach out to us. This is our email address. I'm going to put it up right here at the end. If you want to email, please send it to this address. No other address. That one right there. That's the best way to reach us. showcasecreate@gmail.com. And we will respond to all the emails. If you don't get a response in a day or so, it's probably because you mistyped it. So double check your spelling before you kick that send button off. And with that, I'm going to send off. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all again very, very soon. And until next time, bye for now.